a new way of doing things that's certainly going to result in positive change. So let's go through 7 principles of innovation as they apply to Steve Jobs, and let's see how we can apply them to your group. Okay, I want your group to think about this.
Excellent.
Number 1 is do what you love.
Okay.
You've got to follow your passion.
Yes.
We talked about Steve Jobs and calligraphy.
Right.
Steve Jobs once told an interviewer, this particular interviewer asked him, what's the secret to entrepreneurship? What would you tell a young entrepreneur today? And he said, I would go out and get a job as a busboy until I found out what I was truly passionate about.
Wow.
I think you cannot innovate. You cannot create something new unless you are truly passionate about your subject.
Yeah.
So all of you are very passionate, and you're certainly passionate about bringing people together. So don't lose that, and make sure that that's constantly communicated in your website and in all of your presentations.
Wow, okay.
Always remind people of why we're here at this monthly meeting.
Yes.
Never let them forget why they're passionate, what brought them together.
Okay, excellent.
Second, the second principle, put a dent in the universe. Steve Jobs is all about vision. Passion fuels the rocket, right? Passion gives you fuel, but it's vision that directs the rocket to its
where it's going, yes.
Steve Jobs can articulate a very clear, simple vision, clear back in the mid-1970s. In fact, this is what inspired Steve Wozniak to join him. Steve Jobs said, I want to put a computer in the hands of everyday people. Now remember, microcomputers at the time were relegated to the hobbyist market.
Right.
So by saying, I want to put a computer in the hands of everyday people, that was a big, bold, tangible vision. And it inspired evangelists to join him on that journey.
And it was also around the time of Sly and the Family Stone's song, We Are Everyday People. So it resonated with the times.
Well, you need to ask yourself, and I'm not sure what it is yet, but you need to ask yourself and your group, what's our vision? And can we articulate it in a sentence?
Okay.
Excellent. Third, we've already talked about this, creativity. I call it kickstarting your brain. Remember, we talked about Steve Jobs. Why is he creative? Because he applies and associates different ideas from different fields, much like you did in creating this club. Let's not forget the quote that Steve Jobs had when he was asked what made the Macintosh great. And he said what made our Macintosh great was that it was created by historians and poets and artists who happened to be computer scientists. So I think that applies to your club as well.
I like that, yes. Because we're all iPad enthusiasts, but we're also presenters, or there could be accountants and artists and whoever.
And embrace that, because that's where creativity is going to be nurtured. A lot of companies, I don't want to get into this, but a lot of companies in the States especially, they go down the checklist. You have to have certain background, certain experience, and what they forget is that by bringing people in who have different experiences and different backgrounds and different skills, that's where creativity really is allowed to flourish. Apple has known that for years. What a shock!
Wow. And oftentimes when ideas are introduced that are a little different from the way things are done, Japanese are great believers in slow innovation. Kaizen is a gradual process. And so they say, well, that sounds nice, but it's not really practical. So how do you break up that mindset and get people enthusiastic about the idea of change?
Well, I think it's difficult. I think it's very hard, but you have to lead by example.
Yes.
And certainly you're doing that in the club.
Excellent. Thank you.
And sometimes that's what you need to do, is take those small steps to show people how it's done.
As other people have done for us.
Yes. Yep. The fourth principle is called sell dreams, not products. So always remember who your customers are and what their dreams are. The reason why Steve Jobs has been able to create these breakthrough innovative products for so many decades is because he's always thinking about his customers and what their problems are. And how do we solve those problems? So again, you as a user group, you need to ask yourself, Who's our audience? What are we trying to do here? What are we trying to accomplish?
Right.
And how do we help our audience, whoever that may be, how do we help our audience achieve their dreams? Because they don't care about you, they care about themselves.
Right.
Their hopes, their goals, their dreams, their ambitions. How do we create tools to help them meet their dreams? That's how Steve Jobs
yes, and particularly in their place of work or education, because that's where they live. And that's where they need to, I mean, they can be excited in the club when everybody's like-minded, but they need to go back to that world and position themselves then as leaders in that respect.
And remember what Steve Jobs said in his very famous quote, still gives me goosebumps, when he returned to Apple in 1997, I think it was Macworld 1998, where at the end of the presentation he said, some people think you've got to be crazy to buy a Mac, but in that craziness we see genius. And those are the people we're making tools for. So you need to ask yourself that same question about your user group.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. The other point I think is very important. This is the next principle. Say no to 1,000 things. So again, these are all based obviously on a Steve Jobs quote.
Right.
But the reason why the iPad is so elegant and so wonderfully compelling is that a 2-year-old can use it. You've seen the YouTube video with a little 2-year-old. It's because they eliminate all that which is unnecessary. And obviously you folks are going to understand that better than I. But they eliminate the clutter in design. I think that applies to everything. And it applies to your website as well.
Yes.
I want you to go back and you look at your website and ask yourself, is this as Apple-esque as we can make it? Because Apple will reduce the clutter so that it's only focused on what they want to highlight on that website. It is the most uncluttered website of any site in corporate America, or, around the globe. Ask yourself, is our website equally as uncluttered? Is it as simple to understand as an Apple site? Or are we trying to put too much information on there?
Right, excellent. Oh, this is fabulous food for thought. Yes, thank you.
Create insanely great experiences. And this is where I write a whole chapter on the Apple stores. And the reason why the Apple stores are so interesting is because they are not based, when they were originally built, and you probably know this, they were not based on a model of another technology store. They were actually based on the model of the Four Seasons hotel chain. That's why when you walk into an Apple store, you do not find a cashier, but you will find a concierge.
Yes. And in fact, now when you purchase products, you actually sign your name on an iPhone screen.
Right.
I mean, there's no, it's all integrated.
So you need to ask yourself the question that Ron Johnson asked himself when he started the Apple Store. And the question was, how do we enhance lives? So they were not in the business of moving product. Yes, at the end of the day, obviously that was the goal, to move product, but he started with the question, how do we enhance lives? When you begin with that question, Will, I think your strategy for your group and your vision might change based on that question.
Excellent.
Yep. Obviously, the seventh principle is master the message. And I think you get that, and I'm sure your users do too. That's communicate effectively. Communicate in all your presentations, on your website. Have the courage to communicate simply.
Wow, that's the 7 principles of how to innovate like Steve Jobs, and we've heard it right from the guy that came up with the idea. So thank you so much, Carmine. This has been tremendously helpful, very inspiring, and we will share this at the opening event tomorrow night, as well as on the website and probably in chunks. Because these are wonderful concepts, and I think you've already given us the minutes for our next meeting anyway. This is
You're
tremendous.
welcome. Can I leave you with one more thought?
Please, please.
I want to inspire your group. There is a wonderful story of a Disney executive who actually had the responsibility of revitalizing the Disney stores here in the U.S. and around the world.
Oh.
And so he called Disney's largest shareholder, Steve Jobs.
Oh.
And he asked Steve Jobs for advice. And you know what Steve told him? Dream bigger. That's my advice to you and your user group. Every month, ask yourselves, maybe at the beginning of the meeting, are we dreaming big? How can we be dreaming bigger?
Oh, that is fabulous.
Don't put a lid on your dreams and your vision for what you hope to accomplish.
That is fabulous. Well, we happen to be located in Tokyo, but you've just inspired me to think maybe we can take this to other countries even.
I love it.
We can certainly meet people online, and I'm just so excited and so honored that you have given us this valuable part of your day and your experience, and just shared so openly with us. So we really appreciate it, and we hope that when your book does come out in Japanese, we hope we can actually get you over here to Japan. Have you been to Japan before?
I have not been to Japan. We are tentatively talking about it for April. I will certainly let you know because I desperately want to go there and meet as many of you as possible.
Okay, well, I think we can even set up venues for you as a speaker and get sponsors and whatever's taken, because this is just such a great message, and I think a lot of people will be very eager to hear it, as they have been eager to read your books.
Thank you. It's an honor. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Carmine, and we'll be in touch again soon. Thank you, and good night.